Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode, oh my goodness, I forgot to check. I think it's 25,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Monday service of Whisper Words of Wisdom. And I am here with Brooke Adams. And Brooke Brooke, you just told me, and I forgot, it's an energy,
Yeah, multidimensional energy facilitator.
that's what
Yeah.
she does.
So basically, whatever you want, I can help you with it. We'll just go with that.
So we met in astrology class,
Mhm.
and I know that when we first talked, I have this thing that when I'm drawn to somebody's energy, I'll usually reach out or I'll sit back and I'll observe for a little bit. And then you and I had connected because of something you said in astrology class. And
Mhm.
I had asked you to come on the podcast. And I don't remember what happened. I think I was still had pneumonia back then. I don't remember.
Oh, maybe.
So we finally got the time now to come together to talk. But I found you and your energy and what you do very interesting. And I'm also going to give you kudos publicly because you get up at 4 a.m. class, right?
Yeah. 4 a.m. for astrology class. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. So kudos to you for that
Thank
because I know it's 6 a.m. for me. I mean, I'm up, but for you to get, and you have small children too. So there we go.
you. Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more as to what it is, exactly what you do? And when I say exactly, I don't, for lack of a better word, because
Yeah.
it is hard when we work with energy to explain exactly
Mhm.
what we do, because
Mhm.
it depends on where each person is in their
Mhm.
journey as to their level of understanding and what you're giving and what they're receiving, their ability
Right.
to be open to receive.
Right. So basically, I used to just label it as Reiki. I was Reiki attuned around 2020, and that was kind of when everything just kind of. But what I do is like a combination of Reiki, pranic healing. I use color therapy. Basically, my goal with my company, Rocket Science Wellness, is to enable everyone to give themselves permission to make themselves well, because we are all whole. We just sometimes put a space in between what we think we are and what we really are. After working as a pharmacist for 12 years and then going through a journey of my own where I was sick and Western medicine failed me, I tuned into myself and I ended up healing myself. So this is my goal of my company, is to not have clients very long, because I train them how to tap into their own energy and heal themselves. But basically, if a customer or a client wants a session with me, I usually recommend, if they're ready to do the work. Now, this is if they're ready to do the work, because it will unlock things inside of you that you will have to manage. And I'm talking about like maybe crying, maybe old anger, old memories, stuff like this. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is for people who are serious, who want to heal themselves. But basically, a 45-minute session would be me tapping into their energy, checking each of their chakra systems for imbalances, balancing them, but then also just receiving information from their energy field and then relaying that information back to them, usually via email. And then basically, whenever I do work with anyone, I always tell them to take what resonates and don't give another thought to anything that doesn't. So then they will email me back with everything that resonates, and I will give them a treatment plan that consists of things that are all energy. So you won't have to go to the store and buy anything. You won't have to take anything by mouth. It could be mudras, mantras. I do make a lot of what I call med vises, which are meditation visualizations. And it's just basically what it sounds like. I take you on a journey, and you would be astounded by these small 10-15 minute journeys that can just completely unlock something. I have one client that the first time I worked with her, I did an inner child meditation visualization, and she told me that she'd been working with her therapist for 4 years to unlock a specific memory, and it became unlocked through that 12-minute meditation. So I don't know if that explains your question, but basically I can go into people's energy and I can help them figure out what they can't see.
So what I would call you is, I actually have a friend that's a psychic surgeon.
See, that's what I put, but then I was told that psychic is out in 2024 and it scares
I
people,
would
or I
call
don't know
you,
what it is.
and I don't, you're kind of like me. Like when people
Yeah,
ask me what I do, and I'm
yeah,
um, like a jack of all trades and a
yeah.
master of some. That's what I say, and a master of some. Because
I
it's hard,
like it.
because like what I do, and I am certified in Reiki as
Hmm.
well, but
Hmm.
what I do is it's in combination with the Reiki because, of what my grandmother, I've learned through my grandmother. I mean, I was
Oh,
fortunate
cool.
that way because of her Native American background. So
Okay.
my, I connect differently,
Hmm.
but incorporate part of the Reiki in
Hmm.
with this other, and I don't have a name for it. I just call it my grandmother's teachings. Like,
I love that.
um, but it's kind of, I want to say ancient energy that we
Hmm.
take ancient energy and we just bring it to the forefront and we help people integrate it, trigger their memory to bring them to a place of understanding how and what is going on with them, within them, and causing the issues that they're having. And then we work very similar. And there is no name for it. I mean,
Exactly.
and you and I talked about labels before we met
Yeah,
live, how we both don't like, and
yeah,
anybody knows me, I always say this, I hate labels.
yeah.
Because it's like, it makes it's like saying, um, I'm an administrative assistant. Okay.
Right.
When I remember being in college and being a secretary, which is now
Hmm.
an admin, right?
Hmm.
Um, and thinking to myself, Jesus, I never knew it was so much work. Like everybody just thinks you just sit and type all day and answer the phone.
Hmm.
You're not. You're
Hmm.
doing running all over like crazy. You're doing,
Hmm.
you know, well, back in my day, you were getting your boss coffee. I didn't. I almost got fired. But getting your
Nice.
boss coffee, you were typing, you were answering the phone, you were filing, and we didn't have the computer systems back then. We had just had word
Wow.
processors, you know.
Hmm.
Um, so when you think about all the different chores, it's like saying you're a mom. Oh, I'm
Yes.
just a mom. That one
Hmm.
flips me out. I think a
Hmm.
mother has, she's a Virgo mother is who you want for her personal assistant. They're the most organized women in the world, or people in the world. I'm not just going to say women, but
Yeah,
they are.
yeah.
They're precise, they're organized, um, and they know how to schedule and balance things when they're in
Hmm.
alignment. So if I were to ask you um, to walk me through a little bit of the process,
Hmm.
how would you start?
Like the actual session.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't expect you to do an actual session here, but I mean,
Oh
like,
no, I know.
what do you
Mhm.
require of your client?
Um, you know, back when I was training and fresh and new, I, did it all by the book, and I'm very much one of these people that I already, from a heart standpoint and from like a galactic standpoint, I already know everything I need to know. Now, sometimes I need to be reminded, right? But so it's honestly whatever the energy calls to me. Like I always protect the space. Sometimes I will use, because another thing for me is I try to do things in a non-physical way because I'm a very non-physical person, which sounds, I know, but it is what it is. So um I have their permission, their express permission, which is probably the very biggest step for me, is because I have worked with a healer before that didn't ask my permission. And I've actually heard of very big mainstream healers saying that if a person walks up to them and says hello, that they're giving that healer permission to access their energy. That is like heck no. And I love this particular person that I'm speaking of. I love them. Like I love their content, but when I heard that, and not everything is always going to resonate with whoever you work with all the time. Doesn't matter. Okay, so anyways, I always do it from this space right here. I have done a couple of them outside, but this office right here, it just has like the best loving energy. I have 7 benevolent guides that work with me at all times that I know of. And I think that there's often going to be other elements as well. But basically, I protect the session. I make sure I have the person's express permission. and I do everything remotely. So if we decide that we're going to start at 6:30, I will send you a correspondence, probably a text message, and say, I'm going to start at 6:30 promptly. You know, I make sure that the person is in a space alone so that I'm accessing their energy, not their dog or their goldfish, or, you know, in a safe, protected space. And again, as I said, it is not just, the burden is not just on me, and I don't mean burden in a bad way, but I mean, there's a lot of accountability that goes into this session. So whatever the person puts into the session is what they're going to get out of it. So if they decide that they still want to go through with the session, but they aren't in a room alone and they haven't meditated and they're not at peace, then they're not going to get as big of a
Right.
payback, I guess you could say. But so yeah, I cleanse the energy, and I will do that either with just Reiki symbols. I don't usually use a whole lot of sage anymore, but that's just something for me. I do make auric sprays as well that I will use in the session. And so the client will lay down on the Reiki table, and I start wherever I'm behooved to start. You know, I do put crystals on the Reiki table to represent each of the 7 chakras that I'm working with, but it's so much more than that. I mean, I could be working at someone's crown and my left pinky toe will tingle, and that's me getting a message on my etheric template from their etheric template. And I mean, sometimes I'll go into like an ancient chant because maybe their ancestors came through, or some ancient code is coming through to help them. Sometimes I see colors, sometimes I see memories. I mean, one of my first clients, I smelled urine, and I relayed that to her, and she had had a lifelong battle with UTIs. One client, I smelled baby wipes, and her best friend had just told her that she was pregnant. So it's like all kinds of things will come through. And so that's why when I break it down, my impressions is what I call it in the email, then the client is free to say, this resonates. And if it doesn't, again, it's like whatever it is on Tinder where you swipe away when you don't like it. I don't go on Tinder, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want people to do with stuff that I relate to them that doesn't resonate. Just
Right.
dismiss.
And I
So,
always do the same. I always do the same thing because it's not really about accuracy. It's about the person receiving the energy, because it might be something that hasn't happened yet, or they're not ready to hear yet.
yep. Yep.
So we talked a little bit about timelines. Actually, you said something about timelines before we went live, because I always talk for about 15 minutes before I go live. Even though we don't script anything. I never do. I don't work that way because I don't feel like it's authentic that way.
I like that. That's how I work
I
too.
mess up. Oh, well, and I don't edit unless I absolutely have to.
Right.
Okay. Because I am who I am, and I'm human. But I wanted to ask you about the timelines, because for months, well, actually, I'm going to say for probably well over a year, maybe 2 years, um, a lot of people, and I don't follow a lot of people anymore because I have my reasons, and it's not that anyone did anything to me, or I'm angry or mad or gossip or any, like that. It's just because I like to know that what I channel comes through me pure. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not something that's, somewhere back in my subconscious that I got left there and I'm unaware of. Okay. Although I try to cleanse my
Yeah.
space. Um, I had been seeing like 7 timelines for like 2 years, and people go, "Oh, we're on 4 timelines. We're on 5 timelines." Someone else that I know I've experienced her work, and she's like, they're showing me 5 timelines. I said, really? I said, because I'm sitting here on my balcony looking out at 7, and
Yeah.
I'm watching them like,
Yeah.
and she came back and she's like, oh my God, you're right. Like the next day. Now
That's cool.
she's in Europe, so mind you, who knows, the energy might have been coming hitting this side of the planet first. I don't know. But how many timelines do you see? Do you feel? And this, like, I don't want to say this is not like a right or wrong answer, because I think, again, we go back to where everyone is in their journey, how far they are, what they're seeing, what they're feeling. And I also want to say that we're all here for a purpose, and our purposes are all different. So of course we're all going to see things through a different facet, because we're all pieces of the puzzle. If we all saw the same thing all the time, there'd be nothing to put together.
Mhm. That's an interesting question. And I don't know if I can quantify it, to be honest. I was told, as we talked about before we came on, very specifically by my guides, that I am not to pay attention to anything that is fear-mongering, because one of my purposes is to actually help assemble the highest timeline. So one thing that could be an example, which doesn't quantify your question, and I apologize, but
No, it's okay.
when I'm driving, I will see chemtrails. And, back in the day, oh, chemtrail, the world isn't. No, I don't do that. I'm not doing that. I send it blue diamond light. And I am not exaggerating. I will send blue diamond light, and then it's like maybe a few minutes later, the sky will not look like that anymore.
Right.
So, again, I don't necessarily think that that quantifies your timeline, but basically, if I see something that I perceive to be a distraction from the timeline vision that I'm holding, then I send it whatever kind of energy I'm told will be the most helpful for it in the moment. And that's been the biggest one that's been coming up for me.
That's really interesting. I like the way you describe that, because I'm also somebody that, I think not too long ago, I did one of my videos on fear, and
The great disabler.
yes,
It breaks everything.
it does. It really, really does. And I feel for people who are, I want to say, somewhat stuck in fear, and the media doesn't help.
No.
Even social media, I even find myself limiting myself more on certain social media platforms. Like, excuse me, I'm not gonna name platforms. I'm not gonna get into all that crap,
Yeah, that's cool.
because it's not necessarily the platform, but it's people that are at that space in their journey,
Yeah.
where they don't understand. So there's no judgment attached to it. But you and I and people like us, we know that when we have this energy or this feeling moves through us,
Mhm.
we know what's real and what isn't real.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter, because you can talk to your blue.
Mhm.
Can't hear you right now
Mhm.
because they're not ready to.
Yep.
So when they're ready, build it and they will come, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the famous line in the Kevin Costner movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just finding that more and more people are asking more and more extraordinary questions.
Yeah.
And just at the beginning of this shift into Aquarius, right?
Mhm.
And Pluto brings all this power, and we really don't have anything to go on. I mean, if we look at the history of the United States, okay, it's our Pluto return, and everybody's talking about, revolution, revolt and all that. And I'm not saying that there is an inner conflict in our government, because we all know that there is, because,
Mhm.
well, there needs to be some kind of distraction, right? But I think there's more to it than that. I think it's about letting go of the past and now build. How are we making the future better? What are we building moving forward? What I want to say is F-1776. It's
Mhm.
it's gone. Okay.
Mhm.
We're in 2024 now. And we all have this chance to become these new empowered versions of ourselves,
Mhm.
to take the wisdom that we've learned and the wisdom that we are yet to learn, and to apply it positively moving forward. And that there is no need for fear.
Right.
And what you're saying is confirming what I've been saying and feeling and sensing. So I want to thank you for that, because I think every
Yeah.
once in a while we all need a little. I don't live in ego. Trust me when I
Mhm.
tell you, my ego
Mhm.
would be way down here. But every once in a while, I like a little, that a girl.
Yeah. No, that happens to me too. Because you're
Yeah,
just like, because
just
if
to
you
make
wake
sure
up
that I'm
and
not
you're in a,
crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's if you wake up and you're in this fear-based reality, you're missing all of this beauty that is just surrounding you. And all you have to do is sit in silence for 4 minutes and you're gonna be like, wow, I'm alive and I'm here for a reason. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't supposed to be.
I do not know who the conversation with was with. Was
Mhm.
with, I don't, well, you know, I got that assignment and that homework
Yeah.
assignment, and I wrote, and
Mhm.
so I made it a blog post because it actually turned out to be more than I ever thought it
That's
would be.
cool.
I actually have to thank her for the assignment.
Yeah, I got to look at that.
But I was thinking to myself, this is what joy is. Like
Mhm.
I forgot for a long time like what joy is. This is this isn't fear. This is joy. This should be an exciting new time for everyone. No one should be afraid.
Goodwill open yet? No, not yet. I'll come get you one of
What
these.
about
Okay?
Target?
Let me come get you one of these, okay?
Go to the mall.
Hi, Albert. So sweet.
I know, he was really nice.
Sweet, so good. But I mean, that fear mongering, that takes our joy away from us. That's all about control yet again.
Mm-hmm.
So how long are we going to let others control us? You know, it's everything we say or do, you know, like we were talking about earlier, when people go, oh, well, you know, I don't do the social media. I don't do that, blah, 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 blah. You know, I like my privacy. And I'm like, do you have a smartphone?
Yeah.
Have a cell phone? Because
Yeah.
you have one of these.
Yeah.
You have no privacy. It's already gone. I don't care where you live.
For a smart TV, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why energy shielding is so. And
Exactly.
then there's also people can Google them too, the Declaration of Sovereignty, because a lot of people, I mean, I didn't even know what sovereignty meant. Like we have free will and we are sovereign beings, but one thing that happens, you can look up Revelation of the Method if anyone's inclined to. The Alchemist has a really good video on that. But basically, when we're in a fear-based reality or when we're just really focused on something that scares us, we're actually, I mean, we're giving our power away, but it's even more, it's more diabolical than that, which is a horrible thing to say, but it really is. So it's like, then it's like, I don't want people hearing this to be like, oh, well, I have to be afraid of fear. No, you have to own your power. Really just like picture your solar plexus filling up with the sun. Put the sun in your solar plexus and just breathe into that area. Cambo out. Everybody loves me when I'm in here.
Hey, I have
Ah,
puppies right here. Let me tell you something. If I move, they're going to start. I can't even move.
yeah. Now my big dog, he like my hand's all dirty from petting him, but he nudges and nudges and I'm just like, yeah, I know, because he's a little empath too. But
Oh,
yeah, so I mean, and I just talked about this yesterday on Instagram on one of my reels. When we are in victim consciousness, it's kind of the same as fear-based consciousness. Those two things have one thing in common. You are thinking your power is outside of yourself. All of the power that you need is already inside of yourself, but it's just like a muscle. If you haven't been using it, then your body's like, oh, you want to use it now? Oh, okay. So, that's why positive affirmations, like really just envisioning what you want your reality to be in the morning before you wake up for the day, at night before you go to sleep. When you're largely probably in theta or almost in theta, you can reprogram your subconscious. That's when it's time to do the mantras. That's when it's time to do the affirmations. That's when it's time to just really like, that's when I usually tap into my energy and just see if there's anything that I need to assess for the day. So I mean, everybody can just really figure out their own energy field and figure out what works for them. And it might not work for anyone else, but it works for them. So it's perfect.
what I usually do is every morning I just do a scan of my own energy.
Yeah.
First, I have to let myself wake up for a minute.
Mhm.
You know, and I walk the dogs first thing, and then I just sit with
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
I just scan my own energy. But now we're filming this on Friday, February 2nd. So this will
Mhm.
go live um on YouTube. I usually upload and then set it to go live on Sunday. But
Oh, cool.
I might actually upload it tonight for tomorrow because it
Okay.
takes a little bit for me to upload it because
Mhm.
we have some astrological
Yeah.
aspects coming in that I was talking to you about before. So we have Pluto and Aquarius,
Mhm.
and we have Mercury, Mars, and Venus. getting ready to hit the same 0-degree mark, and it's going to be one after the other. So that's going to cause everyone's going to feel it in one way or another. And for my people that don't believe in astrology, well, you know, that that's your opinion.
Yeah,
But when someone attacks you because their Mars is 0 degrees Pluto out of nowhere, you might
interesting.
come back to this video.
Yeah.
You know, we don't really know how it's going to come back. We don't really have
Mhm,
anything to compare it to other than,
mhm,
like I said, 1776 with the Pluto
mhm,
return back then. And that's when um, you know, our independence was declared from Great Britain. So we have Mercury who wants to communicate,
mhm,
but what is it communicating? So we want to be mindful of that. What we are speaking is our truth. That's very
mhm,
important. And, we want to stay out of gossip. I want to
mhm,
say, I personally feel like there's going to be a lot of what I call chatter in the back.
mhm,
It's going
mhm.
to be like whether it's the own little voice in the back of your head personally, or if it's just like something in the collective energy. I'm not
Mhm,
really, I mean, it could be both,
mhm,
because that is a personal planet. Mars is what could be the rage. I mean, the fiery, harsh, not so nice words. Trying to not curse because I know your son's around somewhere, but that could be tough. And
Yeah.
then Venus is, what we love and value. So what is it that we love and value, or how are we loving and valuing ourselves in Aquarius? Because
Mhm.
remember, it's a new out of the box thinking. So, but all of these energies used properly, like in Aquarius, there could be a new form of communication. There could be maybe a new social media platform becomes launched. It's like it could be
I could see
anything
that.
that has to do with communication.
I could see that.
Um, so yeah, I could definitely see that too. I know a lot of people have been talking
Mhm,
about that as well. And then remember AI.
mhm.
What is AI? It's a new form
Mhm,
of communication.
mhm.
You talk into a little thing or you type into a little thing, from what I understand, because
Mhm.
I don't understand that a whole lot. That's something that,
Yeah.
listen, you're ahead of me. I can't. I'm on Instagram. I've never done a live on Instagram like I
Mhm.
have on Facebook, but I haven't, in all fairness, I have not
Yeah.
put the time into it. So how can I expect anything out of it?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I
I
think
don't
that
have
everybody
it to that.
resonates with a different platform too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But that's how I am with Facebook. Like I'm on Facebook, but I have like no posts because it's just, I don't know. I like Instagram. Instagram, I don't know, just has a different feel for me.
yeah, and I think it's what you're comfortable with. And
Yeah.
for me, Facebook is where I started out.
Mhm.
And I do enjoy Instagram. I just don't grasp the whole concept of it. Like one day I'll just
Yeah.
tube a video, go on YouTube and watch a
Yeah.
house. And I'll get my
Yeah.
shit together and I'll learn how to do it. People always find me. It doesn't matter. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
I always say this. You can have the biggest, bestest, I know that's not a word,
I
website
love
in
it.
the whole wide world.
Mhm.
Some of my best clients come from word of mouth.
Yeah.
I don't really advertise on Facebook.
Mhm.
I don't really advertise on any social media platform except I was advertising for my breathwork class,
Oh, that's right.
because that was new. That's the first thing, and I didn't even pay for any advertising. So um, I always think that your clients are always somehow they find their way to you, you know. And
Yeah.
as soon as you're standing in your true authentic
Mhm.
light, you're going to shine bright enough that they're going to be attracted. It's going to come.
Yes.
It's going to come, especially with what you do. I remember when we first met, you weren't on Facebook. So
Hmm.
the instructor was asking me to send things to you.
Yeah.
And it was early in the morning, I remember. And then I remember like leaving you a message or something like,
Yeah.
I'm I'm talking, I'm not texting because I can't, it's too early. I'm like, I can't. So, and you said I had the specific energy of a specific Greek
Oh,
mythological
yeah. Oh,
mythology. Do
geez.
you remember that?
Yes, it's leaving me right now, but it'll come. I can picture her, but
It
I
was
can't.
Hades? Was it Hades?
No, it's a female.
Um,
Um, oh my gosh, I can't think of it right now.
yeah, I think I have it on in
Yeah.
WhatsApp message. And I was like, okay, she's the real deal. Like, 'cause
Thank you.
had a couple people tell me that. And it was, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be rude and like go through messages, but I
No, I
I
was gonna
found it
try to
really
figure it out.
interesting because you were the second person like within like a 30-day
It's,
period that told me that. And the other one
yeah,
was a
it's
young girl.
Hakate.
What was it?
Hakate. Some people
Okay.
call her Hecate. It's Hakate, but she always has like her two dogs with her. And that's just how your energy presented in that picture, I remember. Yeah.
But you were the second person that had told me that, like with that within that month. And the other person was in the beginners group as well. But
Okay, cool.
I think she, yeah, she bowed
Yeah,
out. She's
she's
doing
not
something
into.
else. I think
Mhm.
she's going for her PhD or something. So she
Oh,
didn't
cool.
have time.
Yeah.
But I found it really interesting how you were able to pick up on that because a lot of people find me hard to read
Mm,
because I want to say you normally when in certain situations, I guard my energy and it
mhm,
does make it harder for people to read me.
mhm,
We're able to, I was in a place where I was relaxed, number one,
mhm,
and number two, you just you there was something in your energy. And there's always,
mhm,
I always say that like there's something that I'm attracted to in somebody's
mhm,
energy. And
mhm,
then I reach out. I'm like, okay,
mhm.
listen, I don't know what it is, but I'm
Yeah.
drawn. So there's got to be a reason. My
Yeah.
guides are drawing me to you, then there must be a conversation
Mhm.
that we're supposed to have,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the way I work. And I feel like that's the way you work as well.
Mhm, mhm. If it's in alignment, yeah. I
Yeah.
do have very specific information for my guides, but yeah. Yeah. Because
I
I mean,
this
that's what 2024 for me has been. Like my descendant is Capricorn. I'm sorry, yes, Capricorn, and I think that I've very much honed in on that now because I've gotten to the place where you don't just get access to me. It's something that, you earn, whether by being on the same frequency or I don't know. But there's certain people that
you're
just don't have
so
access to
that's
me
really
anymore.
weird because my ascendant
Hmm.
is Capricorn, so
Yeah,
we balance that
balance
out.
each other out.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So where's your natal north node? Capricorn?
North Node's Virgo. Hmm.
Okay, so you're the born healer. And it's usually holistic healing. So there you
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yes. I'm supposed to bring everything down from the ether and put it into tangible physical steps, which is like, and that's something else I'm working on is because yes, I want to teach people how to heal their own energy, but not everyone thinks like me. Some people need numbers. So I'm working on two different portals. One is, how to just tap into your self energetically, just from an intuitive perspective. So training people how to use their intuition. And then the other portal will be more science minded, I guess. It'll have all the terminology and it'll have like, you'll be able to see, oh, what's my spiritual wellness on a gauge from 0 to 100%. So because everybody, some people really need those steps. I'm kind of just like, just show it to me. My guides just go boom. And then I'm like, okay, I get it now. I don't really need the steps.
Well, yeah, and I get that too, that because some
Yeah.
people do need that structure because
Yeah.
um if you're like say someone who has like a Gemini rising,
Hmm.
sometimes they're I mean, and they're highly intelligent.
Hmm.
Sometimes they need those steps.
Yeah. Very analytical.
Exactly. Even a
Yeah.
Virgo can be very analytic. Like
Mhm.
I have a lot of Virgo friends and I have
Mhm.
two close Virgo friends that are
Mhm.
so totally on the opposite spectrum
Really?
of
Oh,
Virgo.
wow.
Like
Uh-huh.
one is very organized and
Mhm.
she talks with just precision and she's like somebody that's like into the spreadsheets and everything's organized.
Mm.
Other one is just, I don't want to say a mess. She's not a
Uh-huh.
mess, but like she's all like into this plant medicine. Like
Okay.
they're both beautiful energies in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But one is very, very holistic, and the other one is very, very non-holistic,
Very physical, tangible.
interested, but it's more about the what
Is it tactile or tangible?
the
Mm-hmm.
practical
Mm-hmm.
side.
Practical.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like one's very practical and one's very non-practical, which we can see that in that Virgo energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that interesting because I think that the signs help.
Mm-hmm.
They help us to now, teach a person to learn about themselves, but it's more than that. It because when you blend all of the energies together, I always say you get a cocktail. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people are learning astrology. I always say,
I
well, pick
like that.
your favorite drink and how
Yeah.
many ingredients are in it. Okay.
Right.
Like if you had something that had 5 ingredients, um, like, okay, here you go. I love pina coladas,
Mm-hmm.
but if you give me straight rum, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
we have to sweeten it. So each
Mm-hmm.
aspect or each planet that you add into the house sweetens it, or it changes the
That's
flavor of
cool.
it. And I like that analogy a lot.
I do too. Yeah.
Same with numerology, and when you apply that to things, and that all works with the energy as well. There's so many things now. Like there's so many things that have come to light. And what you're describing, what you want to do is, I was, as you were saying, I was saying, God, that's so Aquarian.
Excuse me.
That is
Mm-hmm.
literally so Aquarian. And
Yes.
doing these things, and they're not even realizing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people are stepping into their power, and people are going, well, I feel like I'm being pulled back. I feel like I take 10 steps forward and then I fall back 12. I'm like,
Hmm.
no, you're not. It just
Mm-hmm.
feels that way because
Mm-hmm.
you might be repeating a pattern
Mm-hmm.
or a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
but
Or
are
sometimes the
you
universe will
spiraling up?
test you too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Are you spiraling up? Are you
Mm-hmm.
staying where you are? Or are you
Mm-hmm.
spiraling up? Or do you feel like you're spiraling down? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we feel like we're spiraling down, that's because we've been turned upside down so we can spiral up.
Oh, I like that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I should know. I had the Saturn return from hell.
Oh no.
Well, I had my Saturn return. Um, I was, yeah, 59.
Okay.
Trying to think. It was 59 when I had my Saturn return.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the way it hit my chart. It usually hits between 57 and 60 or 58 and 61. It just depends on how your chart is and where Saturn is.
Okay.
But mine was in Aquarius, and
Okay.
that Saturn went retrograde. So it went by the first time. I'm like, oh, that's not so bad. Then it went retrograde and it hit again. I was like, okay, this sucks. Then it went forward and it hit again. Talk about getting a double knock on your rear end.
Oh wow.
It was, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to survive this. Like, I don't think I'm going to
Oh.
survive this. And I got physically really sick. I had, I, did I have pneumonia then? No, I didn't have pneumonia. I had COVID that year,
Oh
and then I had
wow.
really crappy blood work. I had an issue with my blood work, and
Huh.
just some health challenges that were going on. And like it all showed in my chart, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can't use just that alone because I think also when you use the chart properly and when you know how to navigate and use energy the way you do,
Mm-hmm.
um, that it's a combination of things, no matter what it is. So if you have an idea of what's coming in,
When this says 11. Okay, you can take that.
you can
Yep.
somewhat try to prepare for it, I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
Mm-hmm.
or you have a general idea. So I don't even know if we really can prepare. I just feel like fate and destiny are what they are, and we as humans just have to learn to navigate and stay
Mm-hmm.
in flow
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and keep our balance.
I would say the like how you said you don't prepare for these and you don't script them. I feel like the same could be true for life. And basically just anywhere you go, just take your whole vessel with you and make sure you know your vessel well enough to be protected, to be in your own power, to stand firmly in your boundaries. And I mean, there's all kinds of energetic exercises you can do to like hone in on that, but that's how I would be prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get dressed fancy, you can, do all the things, but really what matters is how is your energy? Are you calibrating yourself every day? Are you tapping into yourself every day? Are you cleansing your energy every day? Sometimes more than once a day, depending on
Oh,
where
God.
you're going and what you're interacting with.
Every time I go out and come back,
Yeah. Yeah.
into my energy.
For
Every
real.
single time.
I need to own
Matter of
stock in
fact,
Epsom salt
I
because
wasn't
I use a
planning,
lot of it.
I
Yeah.
wasn't planning a whole lot today, but this
Yeah.
is because I actually have some sunshine. Like for 2 months, we
Yay.
had no sunshine, and I had some
That's
sun
crazy.
yesterday, and I have sun
Yeah.
today.
That's
Again, I'm
crazy.
like, oh yeah, I don't care. I don't know where I'm
Yeah.
going. I might go sit in the cemetery. You know me, I'm
Nice.
like that. So,
Yeah. I
but,
love that.
but I want to thank you for your time, number
Oh,
one.
thank you.
And it's been nice getting to know you better. And I look
Yeah,
forward
you too, Robin.
to know you even more. And do you do you have a website? You mentioned the name of your business was
Rocket Science Wellness.
Rocket Science
Um,
Wellness, and that's a .com.
so still working on the website because whatever it is about me and the internet, and I know it's Age of Aquarius, so this has to change. But yeah, I'm not really good with technology, and sometimes I even make technology like glitch out or whatever. But my website,
I've blown up computers. I've blown up like
yeah,
uh
your cell phone.
yeah, I've blown
Yeah.
up light bulbs.
Nice. Yes. I
Yeah,
love that.
my
And
ex
telekinesis.
my
Yeah.
ex-husband used to say, "There's something wrong with the wiring in this house," and I just laugh because
You're like,
he thought I was
yeah.
crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
but so you don't have a website. So how can people contact you? How can
I
they
mean,
find you?
I do have a
They can
website. The
contact
easiest,
me and I can just send them your information or
yeah, that works. I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well, but I'm on Instagram. I'm working on a YouTube channel, but probably the easiest way to find me is to go to my link tree in Instagram because I do have a website, but it's not the best domain. It's rocketsciencewellnessllc.com. So it's very long,
okay.
but
And on are you under Brooke Adams on Instagram?
yep, and Rocket Science Wellness. Yeah.
Okay. So
And
that's
my
probably the best way for everybody to
mhm,
find you then on
yeah,
Instagram. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I want to thank you for your time today.
yeah. Thank you, Robin.
Tell Oliver I'm sorry that we took his mom away for an
It's
hour.
okay. It's okay. It happened at the last minute. That's why I'm not showered or anything. He wasn't feeling
Fine.
100, so he's staying home. Yeah,
You should see
that's how we do.
schools. You
Yeah,
should see, you know.
yeah.
Um, did Miss Teacher give you didn't she give you a writing assignment or something?
Oh, singing assignment.
A singing assignment. Would you like to leave us with a song? You don't have to.
Um,
I'm just teasing you.
I was like, I was
This could
so
be a two for
into
one,
it.
you know.
What's that?
This could be a 2 for 1. We can use it for your homework assignment.
I know, right? I probably still will put it up on social media, but the song that came to me was so Aquarius, and it was, I've got chills, they're multiplying, and I'm finding my control, 'cause the power you're supplying, it's electrifying. Welcome to the age of Aquarius. It was something like this, but it just like came to me when I was driving, which a lot of things do.
You
It's
have
like
a
if you ever
beautiful
want to be
voice.
in channel, just drive.
You need to use that more.
Yeah,
Put a little more.
I've been told that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a beautiful voice. I
Thank you.
didn't think you would do it. I was just teasing you.
I'll do whatever,
Love
like my
that.
mom used to say, as long as you're nice to me, I'll almost do anything.
I love that you step out of your comfort zone.
Yes,
You
you
know
have
who
to.
you are.
Yes.
You speak your truth.
Yes.
Your light really shines bright. And I think
Thank you.
it's just the beginning of your light.
Thank you.
And I just think you're a really nice, cool, sweet person.
Thank you.
But I'm also going to say this.
Yeah.
I would not I would not want to meet you head on because I don't care how much Cancer nurturing energy is in your chart.
Yeah.
You are a force.
Yeah, it's true.
But I don't mean that. I mean that in a
Yeah.
positive way. I
No.
like you really,
Mhm.
we talked about this before we came on camera that if we
Mhm.
all knew everything, then we'd all
Mhm.
be the same.
Mhm.
We're all supposed to, not supposed to be the same. We all have our own area of expertise. That's
Mhm.
the piece of the puzzle. If all the puzzle pieces are the same, you can't put the puzzle together, right?
Yes, correct.
And I love like you have this I don't know what word to use. I want to say a little, it's not quirky, but I don't know what word to use. It's just unique.
Mhm.
Like everybody has their own unique thing, and you have this
Mhm.
really cool vibe,
Thank you.
and
As
I
do you.
like it. And I think that people feel comfortable around you.
Yeah. I like that about myself. I do think that one of the things I've always been pretty good at is just making someone feel like they're the only one in the room when I'm around them. And obviously sometimes if there's triggers that come up, that's separate, but I do feel that I'm very good at helping people really just like go into the parts and pieces of themselves that they really like. And then, the more you really like all these parts and pieces of yourself, then the parts and pieces of yourself that you don't like as much, then you're like, okay, maybe it's not so bad. And then that's where the shadow integration can start. So, yeah.
And then I like that. I like the way you worded that too, because it kind of takes us back to what we were talking about before, like the
Mhm.
distractions. Like
Mhm.
we create distractions for ourselves as well,
Mhm.
within
Yep.
ourselves,
Mhm.
and that applies as well. Like, okay, well, if I'm thinking about, that my knee is aching right now,
Yeah.
and the real problem is I have a little fracture in my hip. Kind of
Yeah.
doesn't make sense that my knees hurt. We were talking about that, right?
Yeah.
And so is the knee to distract me from the hip,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? They're saying like it's the way that I'm walking differently. I don't feel like I'm walking differently at all. I didn't even know that it happened. I just thought, well, I slipped and fell on the ice and I have a bruise on my ass. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
I'm old. What am I gonna say? I'm old and it hurts.
Oh,
It is what it is. I'm still only human. But thank you again for your time. And
thank you,
everyone
Robin.
find Brooke Adams on Instagram, or you can contact me. I'm sorry, tell me the name of your business again. I have a really
Oh,
high
yeah. No, you're fine.
so I can't, I'm finding
Yeah.
it hard to focus.
That's
Something's
okay. Rocket Science Wellness. So Oliver's middle name is Rocket. So it's Rocket Science Wellness. So basically like tapping into your energy, being a whole person, isn't rocket science. So
rocket
Rocket Science
science.
Wellness.
I
Yeah.
always say it doesn't take a brain surgeon, but I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Science. Can't believe you named your son's middle name is Rocket. How cool is
Yep.
that? You gotta be the
Yeah.
best. That'd be the coolest mom ever.
Yeah. I call him Rocky. It's like
Oh,
my
I love
nickname. So
that.
yeah.
I love
Thank you.
that. All right. Well,
Well,
hi.
thank you, Robin.
Have
Yeah,
a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for taking time away from Oliver for all of
of
us
course.
today. And
Of course.
be
Thank
well,
you
be
so much.
blessed, and I'll see you in class.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Mwah. Thanks, honey.
Bye.
All right, Maverick, wait a minute.